Hello everyone, welcome back. As many of you know, well, as some of you know, I have recently just finished my Anno 1800 playthrough, and while I did lose and I did get destroyed, I don't really feel like trying again yet. I am going to, in the future, I am going to go back and I'm going to give George a piece of my mind, but until then, I am going to do something a little bit different. Now, I am waiting for things to happen and happen to things, so the next gameplay project is going to take a little bit of time, but spoiler alert, it's going to be on Hogwarts Legacy. Hopefully, okay, I'm pretty sure it's impossible to lose that game, but never say never, right? Yeah. I feel like that's a bit more up my alley anyway. Anno 1800 is a little bit of a stretch for me. In any case, while I wait for things to happen and happen to things, I am going to try and do something a little bit different. So this has been on my mind for quite a while. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. And yeah, I'm planning to do a few React streams. Now, as many of you know, I am very read up on the VTuber scene. I still am, so I am not going to react to anything VTuber yet. I am starting to lay off the content slowly so that I can actually, react to it live and not be like, ooh, wow, I've seen that one before. I've tried this, so I am going to react to something that's a little bit older. This is Matthew Santoro. I've been watching him since I was in grade school. Yeah, he has been making videos for well over a decade now, and he is super cool, and he is still making content to this day. You should check him out if you want to, but I'm going to be reacting to videos of him from 8 years ago, or maybe even later than that actually, seeing how this one goes. The idea being that, if it's old, hopefully not many people have seen it yet. Maybe. I don't know how popular he is around younger folk nowadays, but he's still super chill and I still enjoy his content, so let's give it a shot.
Little did you know that poison is basically lurking at every turn.
This is the top 10 most poisonous things on Earth.
Of all the things that could poison you in this world, some are
believe that
at the
was mustard
top in
gas,
terms of
right?
how potent and quick that they're able to kill. And most of them you either never heard of or have access to and didn't even know could kill you. Get ready, because here are the 10 most poisonous things on Earth.
I love that he just gives this information out freely. Oh, you have access to this very poisonous thing that, can kill you. Ha ha ha. Don't touch it.
Number 1 is blue-ringed octopus venom. No larger than a golf ball, the blue-ringed octopus is the world's most venomous marine animal. Primarily found in the tide pools and coral reef around Australia and Japan, you definitely want to stay away from these guys, no matter how cute and docile they may seem. Blue-ringed octopus venom contains tetrodotoxin, a neurotoxin that is so powerful that it will cause blindness, nausea, respiratory failure, paralysis, and a very painful death. You know this thing's about to attack when its signature yellow skin with blue and black rings start to turn brown, and the rings go iridescent and start pulsating. Yeah, then it's just time to swim away.
Wait,
the venom from one
up.
blue-ringed octopus is strong enough to kill 26 humans in minutes. And since the bites themselves are usually small and painless, most people don't even know that they've been stung until heavier symptoms set in. Since scientists haven't been able to come up with a successful anti-venom, hospitals can only put victims on ventilators until all toxins wear off, if they even do. Okay, I think I'm gonna pass on calamari for a while. Number 2 is cyanide. The second item on this list is one of the most well-known and most dangerous.
What's the difference between poisonous and venomous again? Is poisonous the one that if it touches you, you die? And then venomous is if you eat it, you die? Or did I get it wrong?
poisons
Somebody will
out there.
correct me
It's so
someday.
lethal that it can cause immediate death to anyone who comes into contact with it. Cyanide is a chemical that can be turned into a colorless gas
Let me guess,
or
he's
a
going to
white
talk
powder.
about
When poisoned, a
apples, or
person
he's
will
going to
begin to
talk
have
about
difficulty breathing,
almonds?
followed by dizziness and nausea, which will then lead to convulsions and ultimately
Yeah, I
death.
remember
Cyanide
that
actually
theory
occurs
anyway.
naturally and can be found in apricots and other
there
stone
we
fruits,
go.
which contain small traces of it in their pits. It can most
Especially
easily be
apples.
identified because of its bitter almond smell. But don't try to smell it, because you're gonna die. Cyanide has actually been used a lot in warfare and was one of the active ingredients in the gases the Nazis used in extermination camps.
So unless you're going to take like 50 apple cores, blend them together in a blender, and drink the whole thing, I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. Actually, I don't think 50 is even enough. I think you need to just blend the seeds until you get a whole glass of it.
And
or
the
to do
cyanide
anything at
pill, which
all.
you've probably heard of, is
I
an
think.
open secret amongst spies and military officials. If captured, rather than divulging state secrets, the captive can commit suicide by biting into a capsule containing the poison, which is kept hidden, often wedged in a tooth.
Problem solved. Fiverr's got talented freelancers for anything we need.
Oops. No. Okay. I forgot about that. I forgot about
Is
that.
cone snail venom. With venom strong enough to kill 20 adults with a single drop, it's no wonder that the cone snail is considered one of the most dangerous animals in the entire world. Cone snails
snail?
actually have a hollow barbed
Gary, is
tooth,
that you?
like a little harpoon
No, the-
that they use to
the
hunt
shell is
prey.
wrong.
It extends from the snail's head
the shell
and is
is
so
wrong.
sharp that it can even pierce through wetsuit fabric. They're found
Oh,
in
that's not
warm
good.
tropical waters all around the world, and there are nearly 600 different species of cone snails, and they vary in size and appearance, but one thing that they all have in common is that these little guys are extremely venomous. The sting of a small cone snail is
Wait, so venomous is they bite you and you die. And poisonous if you eat it, then you die. I'm very confused. You know what,
similar
maybe he's
to a
just using
bee
the words
sting,
wrong. I'm
which
just not
can be
going to
bad
read too
enough,
much into it.
but getting stung by a bigger snail can be fatal. If infected with a high dose of venom, victims will experience vision loss, respiratory failure, muscle paralysis, and of course, death. And the worst thing is that so far there is zero anti-venom for the cone snail sting. So if you see one of these, just walk away from it because you're gonna die.
Yeah,
Number 4.
yeah, so the problem is these things are super small, right? So you don't see it. That's kind of the problem. I'm pretty sure nobody's going to approach these things voluntarily. Involuntarily is kind of the problem.
Or is strychnine. Who would have thought that something used as a treatment for a number of medical conditions in the past would
I mean,
turn
they
out
used
to
mercury
actually
in
be a
the past
super poisonous substance?
treat
Strychnine is a
people, right?
crystalline alkaloid,
So-
which occurs naturally in some seeds, like the dog button plant that grows in tropical climates. When extracted, it's
So what now?
colorless and has a
Bro, I
bitter
swear,
taste.
botanists
More
are
importantly,
so weird in
strychnine is
naming the
highly toxic. This
stuff.
stuff could kill a person within just a few hours of ingestion.
Dog
It attacks
button
the central
plant is
nervous system,
crazy.
shutting it down before paralyzing the respiratory pathways, leading to death by asphyxiation. In the late 1800s, strychnine was actually thought to have similar effects to caffeine and was used by athletes as a performance-enhancing drug. But today,
course.
strychnine is used in pesticides and rat poison. Some drug dealers are even known to add it to heroin to make the effects, get this, smoother. Yeah, just give me that good rat poison. Number 5 is box
Okay.
jellyfish poison.
I forgot
The
how
next
completely
deadly sea
unhinged this guy
creature
was.
is the
I
box
hope this is
jellyfish.
safe
But this one
for
needs a bit
YouTube.
of a
Wait.
closer look. Mostly because it's so
okay.
transparent that it's practically
guess.
invisible. Well, that's good to know if you're going for a swim. The
I've
box
seen
jellyfish
these in
can be
aquariums
found in
before. They're
tropical
so
oceans near
cute.
Asia in
Wait, they're
Australia,
actually so
but it has been
adorable.
spotted
They're
as
so
far
tiny
from
and
their
they just bob
habitat as
around like the
California.
waters
They
and-
can grow to be up to a
They're so
whopping
cute.
10 feet long,
They're actually
and
so
just
cute.
one of them has enough poison in planet to kill 60 adults.
That part
With
isn't
its
very cute.
painful sting, the poison goes straight into the bloodstream. The venom increases blood pressure and can actually lead to a heart attack and a
Okay,
very
but
painful
they're just
death.
so
If a
carefree,
person
you
is
know? Imagine
unfortunate
just
enough to
roaming
get
around the
stung by this
ocean
creature,
permanently with
soaking
no
the
care in
wound
the
in
world,
vinegar
it's
can
so
actually
adorable.
help with the pain, but because the poison is so strong, you have to get to a hospital as fast as you can because it's practically a race against time. Fortunately, there are many life-saving treatments available for their sting. Have I completely turned you off the ocean yet? Okay, you're welcome.
No, the ocean's
Number
great.
6 is
Like,
mustard
most
gas.
of the time you won't
Despite
taste
its
these
name, this is
things,
not
or
the
if you
type of
see
mustard
them,
you want to be
can
bringing to your next
run.
barbecue. Sulfur gas, or mustard gas as it's more commonly known, was given the name because
this
of its
is the
yellow-brown color and
Geneva
smell,
Convention
which has been
violations.
compared to
Like when-
mustard or horseradish. German scientists developed the chemical during World War I to use as a weapon alongside their heavy artillery forces in order to debilitate large armies. The scariest thing is that the gas can easily penetrate through clothes and cause severe chemical burns and blisters to form on a person's skin, eyes, and in their respiratory system. Victims can
Yikes.
die from the intensity of the burns or damage to the lungs when it's inhaled. But surviving an attack with this stuff is no treat either. The gas can cause temporary and permanent blindness, disfigurement, and even cancer. Pregnant women who have been exposed to small amounts of mustard gas have a much higher chance of having a baby with birth defects or cancer as well. Number
Yeah, I got
7
nothing to
is
say about that one.
stonefish
Mustard
venom.
gas
The
sounds really
stonefish is
horrible.
considered to be the most poisonous fish in the ocean.
On the
And
other
man,
hand,
it's sure not trying to win any Miss Congeniality
sure
awards.
this
They're
is
found
a
in the
delicacy
waters
in some
around
parts of the world.
Australia and tend to hang out on the
I'm pretty
ocean
sure
floor,
stonefish
hiding
is
amongst the
even
rocks
as a
and
delicacy
sand. But don't think
somewhere.
you'll be safe if you stay out of the water, because these guys can actually survive on land for up to 24
Really?
hours. If
Oh,
you
it's
are
one of
unlucky
those
enough
fish.
to step on one of these seriously ugly fish, they have 13 spikes on their backs that will inject their venom deep into your foot.
Ugh.
But it gets
That's
worse
worse than
because the
stepping on
toxins from a
Legos.
stonefish
Ugh.
sting start to
Feet.
work pretty
Ew.
quickly, causing swelling,
Oh my God.
necrosis, paralysis,
Oh,
and of course,
oh my
death.
God.
The pain that shoots up the
Yikes.
victim's leg is so intense that people have actually begged to have their leg cut off. One victim
Eesh.
described it as having each knuckle, then wrist, then elbow, and shoulder being hit in turn with a sledgehammer over the course of about an hour. Ugh. Luckily, there is an antivenom, which may or not surprise you to
Yeah,
learn,
yeah, no.
is the second most administered antivenom in Australia.
Of course.
Number
Australia,
8 is
right.
Indian red scorpion venom. The Indian red
Why am I not
scorpion is one of
surprised
the
that
most
a
common
stonefish is
creatures
in
on this list and can be
Australia?
found in densely populated areas in India, Pakistan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. It's actually been rated the most deadly scorpion in the world and is
Ooh.
responsible for a number of deaths every year, especially amongst young
gonna
children.
bet
One sting
there are
is
farms
severely
for that.
painful and will
I'm
cause
going to bet
sweating,
there are people who
vomiting,
farm these for
convulsions,
money
foaming at the
for
mouth,
the
and
poison.
blackouts. If it's not
And the
treated
poison
quickly,
has
the venom
items.
will work its way through the victim, attacking the heart and
perfumes or
lungs,
stuff like
leading
that.
to
I'm gonna bet that
pulmonary
there's
edema and death.
actually
And in a
items for
bizarre
that.
twist, the venom can even cause priapism, which is, well, let's just call it nature's cruel and painful Viagra. Talk about Die Hard.
Ew.
Antivenom has been developed to fight the effects of venom from other species of scorpions, but unfortunately, it hasn't proven to be very effective in treating the Indian red scorpion stings. So it's probably best to just avoid these little creeps, because you're gonna get a hard death boner. Number 9 is Botox. The most toxic substance
Wait.
on the entire planet is
Wait, no.
botulinum toxin, or as it's more commercially known, Botox.
No, I'm
it's a
pretty sure.
naturally occurring neurotoxin that can be
Wait.
found in soil, dust, and contaminated canned foods.
Wait,
And
what?
man, this stuff is lethal. One
it's
single
not.
teaspoon is powerful enough to kill 1 billion people. I'm gonna say that one more again for you. 1 billion. So you might be wondering how people inject this stuff into their
Right.
faces and not end up just dying immediately. Well,
Because
in
I've heard of
cosmetic
it.
products like Botox, botulinum is used in extremely small doses in order to paralyze the muscles that cause wrinkles
Like
and
what?
to
Do
treat
they-
excessive sweating. But
do they
because
give it
humans
the
can only take the tiniest amount
homeopathy
of it,
treatment?
poisoning is all too possible. A deadly
Yeah,
dose
no.
will attack the central nervous system, causing blurred vision, nausea, heart attack, and full paralysis. All of this, of course, before
Yikes.
eventually, you guessed it, a slow and painful death. And number 10 is arsenic. Arsenic is actually a naturally occurring mineral that's used in lots of everyday items like car batteries and pesticides. But it's also highly toxic and has a pretty dark history. Arsenic has been used as a weapon of choice for many murderers over the centuries because it was nearly impossible to trace. Small doses of arsenic can cause jaundice and a skin rash, but if given in a higher dose, a victim of poisoning will experience intense pain, vomiting, and diarrhea. Convulsions and a coma aren't far behind, and within just a few hours, circulatory failure will ultimately lead to death. But arsenic poisoning doesn't just happen in tales of murder and revenge. Today, nearly 140 million people in over 70 countries are under threat of poisoning from arsenic-contaminated water. This is because it occurs naturally in deep levels of groundwater, but becomes dangerous when wells are dug too deep and used as a main water supply without proper treatment. In fact, there have been 20 major incidents reported in Asia, but arsenic-contaminated water has also been found across the United States. See, this is why I just drink bottled water. It freaks me out. So those were the 10 most poisonous things on this planet. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And of course, thank you guys so much for coming by.
Well, it depends on which tap water, but I hope tap water works. I am not going to keep drinking bottled water. That thing is expensive. Let's take a look at this one. This one was over 10 years ago. Just gonna skip the ads. It's fun to see when he, you know, these old videos of him. I love it.
Hey, I'm Dr. Matt, and I've got the perfect cure for that headache, backache, toothache, heartache, handshake, cornflake, tummy ache. It's called meth. Ride the snake.
Of
All
course.
right, well, obviously, I'm not a doctor, and prescribing meth sounds nuts. But there have been some insane treatments prescribed by medical experts who arguably didn't know better. And what's really disturbing is that these were all commonly used in the past. If a physician used any of the methods you're going to hear about today, they'd be in jail. So what exactly are they? Here are 10 banned medical practices you won't believe existed. Number 1 is mercury. It definitely sounds crazy, but there was a time when people thought that the best way to treat syphilis was to ingest mercury. Side effects included losing your teeth, damage to internal organs, or simply death. Using mercury as a cure began as early as 1500 BC in Egypt and was believed to cure ailments, heal wounds, and even prolong life. It turned out to be the exact opposite. They also used to use mercury ointments, pills, and lotions to treat all sorts of ailments, attributing the side effects and deaths to the underlying condition the patient already had. Nowadays, we're weary about mercury in fish. Back then, they were drinking it like it was an ale. Give me some mercury. Yeah, I feel great. Number 2 is radioactive water. It's hard to believe, but in the early 1900s, radium was all the rage. 100%. Today we know that exposure to radium causes cancer, but back then it was used as a cure for mental illness, diarrhea, malaria, and it was even thought to prevent aging due to increased cell activity. And what better way to get this stuff into consumers' bodies than to sell it as bottled water? That's right, radium-infused water could be purchased in many stores, alongside radium-infused chocolate, radioactive toothpaste, and, why not, radioactive suppositories. Up and atom.
Makes me wonder what kind of stuff we are ingesting today that in 50 years time somebody like this is going to come up with and be like, oh, you know, 10 items they ingested in 2025 that were harmful, but they didn't know, like fools and idiots.
3 is whirling chairs. Between 1850 and 1900, in an attempt to stop the practice of restraining the mentally ill and locking them in dark cells, yes, that actually happened,
Yeah.
doctors turned to a method they genuinely thought could help. Strapping patients into a chair and spinning them until they lost consciousness.
Well, if they lost
That'll get the
consciousness, they
voices
can't
to
move mad
stop.
anymore. I
They used a
guess.
simple chair with a lever system to spin the person around. The belief was that this would shuffle the contents of the patient's brain around, knocking out conditions like schizophrenia. Used alongside other unbelievable practices like high-dose laxatives, insulin comas, and ice water baths.
Oh my god.
It took far too long for
Okay, ice
doctors
water
to
baths
learn
isn't
that
really
this
that
really
bad.
wasn't working. Just made a whole lot of vomit. Just buckets of vomit. Number 4 is the lobotomy, often
Hey,
declared as
called
one
it.
of the most barbaric mistakes ever perpetrated by
that
mainstream
photo.
medicine.
Oh my god, that photo.
Lobotomies
No.
involve driving
Oh
a
my
large
God.
ice pick
Ice
into a
pick?
patient's
Wait.
head.
Oh
Follow me
no.
on this.
Okay, I didn't know
Entering
it was
through
this
the
bad.
eye socket, the spike was pressed into the prefrontal cortex of the brain and then struck with a hammer. Doctors truly believed that whatever the outcome, the
What do
patient
you
would still be
mean?
better off than they were pre-lobotomy. Side effects included severe brain damage or even
Yep.
death, which was the case with John F. Kennedy's sister, who, after a lobotomy, was reduced mentally to an infant and never recovered. How did they ever think that driving an ice pick through the eye into the brain was ever a good idea? It's scary stuff. Number
Yeah.
5 is the electrical impotence cure. By the 1900s,
No, this-
everybody and their brother had a miracle cure for anything. And disturbingly, many of them were for male issues down there
Okay.
with your dick. Anywho, as fascination with electricity
guess
was
that
on the
would be
rise,
some
medical practitioners turned to
popular.
it to solve impotence by shocking the hell out of a man's package. It was widely believed that a shock provided energy to a man's body,
Free.
which
It's
he
a
could
free
use
treatment, by the way.
to rise. to the
They
occasion.
let it
of
be a
course,
free
what they didn't
treatment,
tell you
'cause
until
nobody else would
after
take
they
it
were paid
otherwise.
was that not only was there no real science involved in it, but it was incredibly painful.
Yeah, of
Dudes these
course.
days be buying
You're
these
shocking
online
your balls.
enhancement pills, and all they really needed was a car battery and some jumper cables. Science!
Ah.
Number 6 is tree panning. The twisted cousin of lobotomy, tree panning was used for many years and involved drilling into a mentally ill patient's head. As one of the oldest methods of treatment, tree
but these were
panning dates all
literally
the way back to
cavemen,
6500
right?
BC in France
Like,
and consisted of drilling
these
burr
skulls are
holes
really,
into a
really,
patient's
really
skull
old.
to let the evil spirits out. The mentally ill were often mistaken to be possessed by demons, and as we all know, the only way to get a demon out of your head is to make a little hole for it to get out of. Long after science recognized mental illness, however, tree panning was still used when all other
Really?
treatments failed, as
didn't know
doctors
that.
just
I know
drilled
about
a
tree
few
panning,
holes
but I
to
didn't
see
know about
what
this.
happens. Science, doctors, if I ever become ill, please don't treat my head like a bowling ball. Just if there's demons in there, just let them chill. Just let them chill. I don't want
I
no
don't
holes.
think they're
okay?
treating
Just
it
let
like
them
a
chill.
bowling ball,
They're
mate.
living.
They're not
and then I'll die.
throw-
I'll die.
they're not
That's cool.
throwing
I
it
don't
into
want to
some
be a Matthew Santoro
pins.
bowling ball. That's
Yeah.
disturbing.
Yeah.
Number 7 is bloodletting.
Oh,
A
bloodletting.
treatment
How did I
used for
forget
over
about that one?
2,000
Right,
years
right.
until the late 1800s. Bloodletting was
Leeches
the
and
act of
bloodletting.
draining blood from the body. Now, while this is still done in a way today, it's nothing like it used to be. Many doctors used to believe that blood would pool in certain places, and that was why people got sick. Vast quantities of it would be drained from the body for ridiculous reasons like a stuffy
are
nose or
times
even a
when blood
headache.
does pool in
Obviously,
the
this
body.
caused many deaths, but once again, practitioners just chalked up the loss of life to the illness itself or state of mind of the patient. Fun fact, barbers
State of
were the
mind of the
most
patient is
common
crazy.
bloodletters, and that's
Living
the
is a
reason they
skill
use red
issue,
and white
what?
bowls. Disturbing, I know. Think about that next time you walk by a barber. Nightmares for days. Number 8 is urine therapy.
No, what is
Urine
this?
therapy was the practice
No,
of using
no,
one's
no,
own
no,
pee
no,
to
no,
cure
no,
them
no,
of
no,
ailments.
I've seen a
Sometimes it would
fire
be the
department
patient's
short
own
on
urine,
this
but other
recently.
times it was a healthy person's,
No.
or even the doctor's. How generous. It was thought that by drinking urine or applying it around affected areas,
okay.
it could help heal broken bones,
No.
clear up strep throat,
What do you
cure acne,
mean?
or even whiten teeth.
Okay, if this was the 16th century or the 17th century, I get it. Okay, I get it. You don't know any better because no one knows any better because the collective knowledge that you have is not any better. But the fire department short I watched about was an incident that happened in this century. That's not supposed to happen. It's just not. Anyway.
Don't get any ideas. Though technically debunked, there are some people still in the world that claim to gain the benefits from this truly bizarre form of therapy. So careful where you go in the world.
Bizarre is the euphemism of the century right there.
Build your mafia world from zero.
Okay.
Miss Winslow's soothing syrup. Hey, want a quick way to stop your child from throwing a temper tantrum? Well, don't worry. With Miss Winslow's soothing syrup, they'll be calm and cool. And halfway into a coma in no time.
What is this?
Sold in the early 1900s as a remedy for children with ailments such as cold, fever, rambunctiousness, or even if a parent just wanted to catch a quick nap. Miss Winslow's remedy as a remedy for children with ailments such as cold, fever, rambunctiousness, or even if a parent just wanted to catch a quick 1900s as a remedy.
Stop. The other's friend for children teething. The mother's friend. The mother's friend for children teething. Bro.
For children with ailments such as cold, fever, rambunctiousness, or even if a parent just wanted to catch a quick nap. Miss Winslow's remedy was fast-acting mostly because it contained heroin, cannabis, powdered opium, morphine, and an insane slew of other substances. The cocktail proved deadly to those children who didn't mellow out, and to top it off, it was marketed to parents of babies who were teething and thus always crying. Mom and dad can finally relax by putting your child to sleep forever. That was a scary time to be alive, medical science. And number 10, the tobacco enema. Let me just say first of all that all the remedies you've heard of today are 100% true. I am not blowing smoke up your ass. Although, if you lived in the 1700s and needed emergency life-saving treatment, that's exactly what they do. It was actually believed that tobacco smoke could warm up a person's body just before or immediately after death and could jumpstart the respiratory system. Of course, the best place to jumpstart the lungs and the heart is through the butt, using rubber rectal tubes. Doctors claimed that this practice would combat hernias, typhoid fever, and even headaches. And then in 1811, it was discovered that this is really doing just way more damage than helping, and tobacco enemas were discontinued. I think the moral of the story here, friends, is just don't try to smoke with your butt. Don't smoke with your butt.
No, I do not want to think about that.
Don't smoke with your butt.
Yes.
It's a helpful tip. You're welcome. And those were 10 banned medical.
Oh my god, why did I watch that? That was a terrible idea. Let's go for something a bit more
Need a way to make a quick buck? Just go on eBay and auction off your friends. Yeah, wait, what? Quiet,
what?
Okay, well, that auction is likely to be taken down pretty quickly.
Okay, I'm expecting this to be a little bit more wholesome. Please don't give me horrible things.
Ethics and morals.
10 weirdest things
but Eugene
ever sold
wouldn't
on
actually
eBay.
be the weirdest thing that someone ever tried to sell on the site, believe it or not. Since the site was founded in 1995, there have been thousands of strange items put up for sale, and many of them have just been shocking, confusing, or just downright hilarious. So today, I rounded up the most bizarre, insane items that people have ever put online for others to buy. So, these are them. The 10 weirdest things ever sold on eBay.
I'm going to guess like a bridge or something. Or some big architectural thing you cannot actually sell that somebody put up as a scam. People is another good guess. One more. What can I think about? I don't know. Many things. Actually, most things can probably be sold, right? What can you not sell? Happiness?
Number one is an Illinois-shaped cornflake. Started already. In 2008, two sisters in Virginia started an eBay auction for a single Kellogg's cornflake that perfectly resembled the American state of Illinois. What's even more disturbing is that after only 1 week, they received a winning bid of $1,350 from a guy named Monty Kerr, the owner of a trivia website from Texas. He went as far as to send an employee to Virginia to pick up the flake
you
instead of having it delivered.
serious?
He purchased the cornflake to add to his pop culture
What
traveling
pop
museum
culture?
that he was
Oh
starting.
my God.
And this wasn't even the first cornflake that he's tried to purchase online.
wonder
Well,
how
that's
that's
nothing.
going now.
Monty, if you're down, I have a Fruit Loop shaped like the entire world. So, you know, call me. Number
Fruit
2
Loop
is a
shaped like
ghost
the
in a
entire-
jar.
No, you don't. A Fruit Loop
Oh,
is a
God.
donut,
In
isn't it?
2003, Arkansas eBay user TJ101 started an auction for a jar that he found in an abandoned cemetery. He claimed that he'd been haunted by the
Nobody bought this, right? Surely nobody bought this.
ghost that resided in the glass container and started the bidding at $99, noting
Yeah.
that he was to not be held responsible if the thing escaped or any damage that the specter might do. After 7 days, the winning bid reached $55,992.
It's that easy. It's actually that easy. Guys, look. It's so easy to make money. Look at that. Look at that. You get some white paint, you get a really old jar, you make some decor out of it, and spin a fancy tail. That's all.
However, the winner just didn't end up paying, likely due to the fact that he must feel stupid.
I mean, I'm sure that this thing is probably there are probably these things that are legitimately from cemeteries and stuff. But man,
Trying to
I'm
buy a
just saying,
ghost
you
on the
know?
internet. What's wrong with people? I feel like that's kind of a lose-lose situation. I mean, either it's
Yeah.
fake and you just got ripped off, or
Right.
it's real and now you own a poltergeist that's going to terrorize you for the rest of your life.
exactly. Why would you want that?
Better spending habits, friends. Better spending habits. Number 3 is the original Hollywood sign.
Okay,
In
I got it. I got one.
2004,
I got
Dan
one. I got
Bliss
one. I got
auctioned
one.
off the
This is-
original
this is an
9-letter
this is
sign that
architecture.
became a landmark
This is
in California.
architecture.
The Hollywood sign was put up in 1923 at a cost of
auction that?
$21,000. Bliss, who bought the sign 2 years prior from a nightclub owner, started the bidding at $300,000
actually
and
owned it.
ended up roping in $450,400.
He actually owned it. What?
That is an insane profit. You might even say he's in bliss.
I don't get the reference here.
Sorry. Number 4 is Forehead Advertising Space.
Now
In
what is
2005,
this?
Utah mother Carrie Smith was in a tattoo parlor getting the website address of an online casino
There's
permanently inked
no
on her
way.
forehead. She did this because she started an eBay auction for the advertising
There's
space
no
for her
way.
son Brady's schooling. Jumping on the opportunity,
God.
GoldenPalace.com clicked buy now when the auction was only 2 days old, agreeing to her low
Wait,
asking
what?
price of only $10,000. 10 grand to be a walking billboard for the rest of your life. Poor choices, my friends.
Well, I guess you can just cover it
Our
with banks,
future
right?
is to reach for the stars.
choices. Number 5 is a human kidney.
you
Highly
just,
illegal.
you know,
In
have banks, you
1999,
can
when
cover it
eBay
up.
was only 4 years old and was still sorting out its stance on certain items put up for sale, a Florida man,
my
only
God.
known as H. Chiro online, tried to auction off his own
own
kidney.
kidney?
He even granted whoever won
I
the
mean, if
auction
you
the
wanted
right to
to
choose
sell your
which
kidney for an
kidney, but
iPhone,
insisted that they could
that's
only
the
have
person-
one.
does that joke still
Starting
exist?
the bidding
I mean,
at $25,000, it wasn't long
mean-
until his auction passed $5 million.
Okay,
However,
wait,
of
that's
course,
not that
the
bad. That's not bad.
anti-organ
That's not bad.
trafficking
That's not bad.
laws in
That's
the
not bad.
United
That's not
States
bad.
stopped the auction
Oh,
in
damn.
its tracks, and eBay took it down just as it had surpassed $5.7 million.
No,
Wow!
unlucky.
I just realized I have 2 kidneys. Eugene, get the scalpel. Number 6 is a haunted
where are
rubber
you gonna
duck.
sell it? eBay
Want to
doesn't
add
allow
value
that
to
no
your
more.
eBay auction? Just claim whatever you're selling is possessed. Easy. That's what happened in
Exactly.
2004 in Courtright, Ontario, Canada, when eBay user N8701 successfully managed to sell his child's possessed rubber duck for $107.50. The seller wrote a long story on the auction's page claiming that the duck
this one
named
can
Bella
spin a story, I
warped and
see.
faded all the other toys in the bathtub and
Warped
even
and
bit
faded.
his son. He and his
How are you gonna
pastor
bite? You don't
concluded
have
that selling
teeth.
the haunted toy on eBay was probably
that
the
one
best
have
way to
teeth,
get
but
rid
that's
of the
definitely
family
not
curse.
it.
As is always the way with these things, am I
curse.
right? Hey guys, check out this new auction where I'm selling this haunted toothbrush. It's possessed by an evil spirit of a
Right.
dentist. Bidding starts at $500. Number 7 is a weekend of beer and fun. Ooh, these guys have the right idea. In 2006,
Okay, wait, some
4
form
men
of-
in Beaumont,
wait, this is
Australia
actually
used
decent.
eBay
Wait,
to
this is
auction off a
actually fun.
weekend of their company, guaranteeing that the gathering would consist of
This is
some
actually
beer,
fun.
some snacks, some conversation, and a hell of a lot of laughs.
would be something
the
people
group
would
said
go
that they
to,
would consider the
actually.
winner to be their best mate. The auction netted them $1,300 and was won by another local Australian man who joined the group to party shortly after. This is actually
That's
an amazing idea, mostly
a
because
really
these guys were
expensive
likely
party,
to just
but
hang
dang,
out and
that
drink the
sounds a
weekend
lot of
away
fun,
anyway, so
especially if
they
you have
thought,
the income
hey,
to
let's
support
make
it.
some
Why
money
not,
and maybe
right?
a new friend while we're at it.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Number 8 is
That's
New
not that
Zealand.
weird.
Yes, the country of New Zealand.
But-
In 2006,
okay,
a man
you know, I
in
didn't
Brisbane,
really expect
Australia,
the
put up
scale
an
of it,
eBay
so I'm
auction
not
to
gonna
sell
put that
New
as a
Zealand.
win.
Starting the bidding at 1 cent, the man claimed he'd been to Auckland, hated the weather, and decided to sell the country. Shockingly, the winning bid was actually able to make it up to $3,000, but once it was discovered, eBay took the auction down. Twist ending.
course.
While most viewed this as a funny bit of humor, the New Zealand Foreign Affairs Minister Winston Peters actually got ticked off, saying that it was nonsensical stupidity. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is coming from a
obviously.
politician whose job it is to spit nonsensical stupidity.
Okay,
yeah, that's
buddy.
the pot calling the kettle black.
Let's
Number
move
9
on
is the
from that.
meaning of life. If there's a person
This is 10 years ago, by the way. A TOS probably is a lot different then than it is now. So I'm hoping that whatever he says, I don't get flagged for. That's it.
out there who can answer the questions everybody has about our existence and what it all means, well, chances are you can purchase that vast knowledge on eBay. In 2000, a North Carolina resident posted an auction claiming that
Yeah?
they had discovered the reason for existence and would share the knowledge with the highest bidder. With an opening bid of just 1 cent, people either didn't trust the authenticity of the information
Yeah, of
or
course.
no longer cared why they were there, as the
I
auction only
doubled
netted
that.
the seller $3.26.
Okay,
you know,
so
maybe
did-
some of these sellers would have been taken a little more seriously if
Wait,
their
so what was
usernames
it?
weren't things like
What was it?
catlover6957978467. You know, maybe if it was like Buddha, then he would have got a little more. And number
Yeah, I'm
10
pretty
is
sure
a
that name is
man's
taken,
life.
you know,
In
unlucky.
2008, in the middle of a midlife crisis that had the world watching him, a recently divorced Ian Usher realized that he needed a fresh start. So
Okay.
naturally, as people do in these
sold his
situations,
life.
he decided
Oh,
to auction off his entire
there's
life
no
on
way.
eBay. Starting
Huh?
the bidding at just $1, broken-hearted Usher
Can you
included
do
in the
that?
auction his house in Perth, Australia, Mazda
Yeah?
car, motorcycle, jet ski,
Wait,
spa, and
wait.
belongings.
Oh my
and on
God, that's
top
so
of all that, a
huge.
trial run at his job as a rug store sales assistant. It even included an introduction to his friends. How nice. The winning bid was over $300,000,
house,
which
the
he
car,
used
the
to go
motorcycle,
on a
oh my
giant world
God.
tour, which included buying himself a tiny island off of the coast of Panama. So remember, folks,
That's
when life
so
gets you
cool.
down, sell that life on eBay and just buy a new one. And those, my friends, were the 10 craziest things ever sold on eBay.
Wait. Oh my god. Is that still a thing you can do? Guys, I have an idea. What if something bad ever happens, then do you think I can do that on Amazon still? What are Amazon's policies on selling personal data? Okay, I don't want to get into that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little snippet. Again, I am just taking a small break in between my Anno 1800 playthrough and what is going to be my upcoming Hogwarts Legacy playthrough. So, hope you guys enjoy this short little snippet, and I'll see you guys then. Bye bye!